Hello to anyone watching this video. It's been a while since I posted, and it wasn't my fault. I didn't have any Wi-Fi at a cruise, so I wish I could post. I wish I could make these videos, but I couldn't. So I'm making one right now, and the day I got back. And what I want to talk about is something I've been wanting to talk about for a while because it's a hard topic to talk about, but I'm still gonna talk about it. It has the past. You see, our human minds. Every time we see a connection, every time we see anything related to something from the past, we often think about what happened in the past, and we often just get stuck in our minds in the past, and it's hard because everything that was important to us we remember, but there are some things that we shouldn't remember. Some things that we should move on from. And I'm not saying, well, an example, non-example of this, is having vacation for family. Like, I think that you should remember that vacation. You should remember everything. You should remember that vacation. You should remember, having a time with your grandma. All these things. But there are some things that you shouldn't. And that is like a bad friend. An ex-girlfriend. All type of things. Some of these things, and I think that I think if you're smart, then you probably are. I assume that you could tell the difference between these two things. And I'm making this, what kind of motivated me to make this video is because of a girl. And I've been talking to a lot of girls. What I mean by that is, like, obviously individually, and I'll say like 5 in my lifetime. And letting go of all 5 of them, because I'm not a bad person. I don't just go through girls right away. I've been through them. Like, I dated 2 girls for a year. I talked to a couple, like 3 girls for a couple months, like 5-6 months, and it just didn't work out for me. And I wouldn't say 5 girls. I would say more like 3, just to, just to clear the road. I'm not a bob, but anyways, I have it that humans, we're very, every time something happens to us, we obviously, something that is important to us, something that is meaningful to us, especially love, we often cling on to it, we often hold on to it, and it's very hard for us to let go because our minds are so connected to it that because during the time, we force ourselves to connect to it. We don't force ourselves, but it's often human nature that we connect to it, because obviously, if you didn't connect to it, what's the point even having it, because if you're talking to a girl and you didn't like her, what was the point of even talking to her, because it's for you. But in regards to the past, if you've gone through what I've gone through, a lot of breakups, a lot of hardships between girls, letting go of somebody is very hard, especially if it's your family member, anybody, it's very hard. And it's because they were a part of us. We can't just remove them from our life. You can't just tell God, oh, remove her from the earth. Remove them from the earth. You can't, and just remove them from mine to clear my mind. But you can't just do that. It's hard because they're a part of you. And I think letting go of the past comes from, the biggest part of it is coming to acceptance. It's accepting that it happened for a reason. And I solely believe that all the girls that I've talked to and broken up with, I solely believe that reason is because God wanted me to experience this. Because He wanted me to build an ability to let go easier. Because when me and my parents divorced, I didn't know how. Sorry, my brother. But when my parents divorced, I didn't know what to do. I was young, and I kept dwelling on it, and I was like I was just a lost guy. I kept dwelling in the past. I was like, damn, that was our last dinner. Damn, that was our last movie we all watched together. All these type of things. And I solely believe that God put all these girls in my life just to teach me how to let go of the past. Yeah. Sorry, my brother keeps walking in. But you know, these, like, yeah, I believe that God, you know, because I remember praying to God for all these girls. I was like, God, if she's not right for me, please remove her from my life. And he did, you know, he really did. And it's been hard, very hard, because I still think about them a lot, but letting go and accepting that it happened for me to become a better person for me to become a better person, you know, has been a huge part of me. And there's one girl, you know, we met, and I told her that I just wasn't ready right now. You know, I wasn't ready because I wasn't ready. You know, I was doing scrolling Instagram all the time. You know, I wasn't focused on my goals enough. I wasn't going to the gym. I was going closer with God. So I didn't talk to her. You know, and knowing that was my choice, knowing that I did that it's in my reach to, you know, accept her back. You know, take her back. Knowing that's in my reach, that if something happens to her that I regret, you know, that's my fault. I would feel that's my fault to blame, you know. And it's been hard. I still think about it. I still think about, you know, just texting her and just seeing if everything's okay. But I know that I shouldn't. Like, I know that I would, and I shouldn't, you know. And accepting that what we had in the past was very, very hard, because I've always thought, you know, I was gonna beat this girl because we had long distance, you know, we were just talking a lot, you know, and we had very long distance, you know, because she lived in London, I live in here, and, you know, I really wish something would, but I can't accept that it wasn't meant to be. Maybe one day, if God does put us back in our paths together, then I would accept it. But I think letting go right now is what I need. Cause I know I asked God, and He gave me a lot of signs that I shouldn't, you know, she wasn't making me happy. She wasn't, but I think this is for me, you know. And I think you should let go, too. Because it's gone now. You can't go back in time. If someone builds a 200 billion time machine now, but you can't go back in time. You can't. You have to let go, accept that happened, be grateful that it happened, you know. Because one day when you die, you know you can't go back. You just sit there and say, damn, that all had really happened, you know. And that's where you let go. So, just let go, man. And accept that it happened. Alright, peace out.